The path to the World Cup semifinals is guarded by the narrowest of margins, where a single ticket to the Final Four represents the peak of international football. On one side of the pitch, the French national team arrives as the tournament's aggressors, a squad built to dictate the pace and exert relentless, overwhelming offensive pressure. Standing in their way is Morocco. Their unit has functioned throughout the tournament as an immovable wall, relying on high-level organization to stifle the world's most creative attackers. This matchup is a test of structural fatigue, a measurement of how many elite-level attacks a disciplined defense can absorb before the physical toll forces a total collapse. The opening phase of the match immediately pushes that structure to its limit. France launches a frantic barrage, utilizing short corners to keep the ball in motion and the defense guessing. This rapid-fire approach forces the Moroccan defenders into a constant scramble. They are required to cover every inch of the penalty box, closing down passing lanes as quickly as they open. When the French shots do slip through, they hit a final roadblock. Goalkeeper Bono anchors the defense, making point-blank saves directly on the goal line to keep the match level. For an attacking unit, seeing clear, high-probability opportunities swished away creates a compounding psychological frustration. The closer the chance, the harder it is to accept walking away empty-handed. Through the swirling chaos, Morocco's defense manages to bend without breaking. But as the French pressure mounts, the tension on the pitch reaches a critical boiling point. The breakthrough is eventually triggered by Kylian Mbappé. Driving through the middle of the pitch, he acts as the catalyst for the impending collapse. His sheer speed and physical presence force the exhausted Moroccan backline out of their rehearsed shape. Instead of maintaining their structure, they are forced into reactive, desperate measures. That desperation leads to a failure in technique. Mazawi throws in a limp challenge to stop Mbappe's momentum, a collision that fractures the defensive shape and draws a penalty shout. This chart shows Kylian Mbappe's World Cup goal accumulation compared to the game's historical greats. With a trajectory aimed toward 20 tournament goals, he represents a volume of scoring that forces defenders into a reactive panic. This is the effect of tactical gravity. By forcing multiple defenders to abandon their posts and collapse inward on him, Mbappé inadvertently creates a massive, unprotected vacuum elsewhere on the pitch. The player positioned to exploit that sudden vacuum is Ousmane Dembélé, lurking on the periphery of the defensive collapse. The map shows the sequence of the strike. As the Moroccan defensive modes pull inward to contain Mbappé, the ball is played squarely into the abandoned space. With the angle open, Dembélé strikes, placing the ball directly into the corner. After minutes of frantic, loud scrambles inside the box, this clinical, quiet finish instantly releases the built-up tension. Relentless pressure creates the opportunity, but it requires a secondary strike of absolute precision to finally break through an elite wall. Falling behind forces an immediate shift in Morocco's approach. They are forced to abandon their defensive shape and push numbers forward in a desperate search for an equalizer. Azzedine Ounahi steps up to orchestrate this reaction, attempting to drive the ball through the midfield to spark a Moroccan comeback. But the French defense systematically beats away these final swirling attempts. With key players like Bradley Barcola providing cover, they shut down every path to the goal. France's ability to pivot from an offensive juggernaut into a disciplined defensive unit is what truly secures the 2-0 shutout. The final whistle blows, cementing France's victory and their march into the semifinals. This outcome was the result of a deliberate process, systematically exhausting and outmaneuvering a deeply resilient opponent until their structure failed. Advancing at the highest level of international football requires both an irrepressible physical force to create the opening and a clinical finisher to exploit it. When sustained tension meets a single moment of surgical release, even the strongest defensive walls in the world will inevitably shatter.